our team members are
Yamilet Sepulveda,
Zaira Casani,
Genaro Cantú,
Arturo Perales,
Mariana Villarreal, Ángela López.
Alejandra Coronado.
We're gonna talk about the first Newton law.
Newton's laws are very important because they tie into almost everything we see in everyday life. These laws tells us exactly how things move or sit still. Like, why don't we flow out of bed or fall through the floor of your house? Newton's laws controls how cars work, how water flows, how buildings don't fall down, and basically how everything around us moves. Newton's laws speak very generally all forces, but to use them for any specific problem, you have to actually know all the forces involved, like gravity, friction, and tension.
Yeah.
Newton's first law states that an object will remain at rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless acted upon by an external force. It may be seen as a statement about inertia, that objects will remain in their state of motion unless a force acts to change the motion. Any change in motion involves an acceleration, and then Newton's second law applies. The first law could be viewed as just a special case of the second law, for which the net external force is zero, but that carries some presumptions about the frame of reference in which the motion is being viewed. The statements of both the second law and the first law here are presuming that the measurements are being made in a reference frame, which is not itself accelerating. Such a frame is often referred to an inertial frame. The statement of these laws must be generalized if you are dealing with a rotating reference frame, or any frame which is accelerating. Newton's first law contains implications about the fundamental symmetry of the universe, in that the state of motion in a straight line must be just as natural as being.
So, the first Newton law is an object and rest remains at rest, or if in motion, remains in motion at a constant velocity unless acted on by an external force. Note that repeated use of the verb remains. We can think of this law as preventing the status that the motion views. Newton's first law of motion states that there must be cause, which is an external force, for there to be any change in velocity.
After all the investigation and experiment, we found very interesting how these three laws affect how motion occurs. It is present in almost every event in our lives, from car accidents to rocket launching. There is always an example of Newton laws happening. It's very important to us to learn about this subject enough to understand initially how things occur around us and to have a better perspective of the world that is behind us. This video was possible by the collaboration of each member of the team since the